The period approaching Christmas can be a busy time of year as it is without having to fit training in. Despite that, many, through misguided fear, will train hard in order to put something in the bank ahead of what it actually is in the big scheme of things, a tiny bit of overindulgence. But is this the best approach when the odds are stacked against you a little bit more than they are at other times of year? Stick around to find out why I, as a coach, advocate moderation, in your training at least during the run up to Christmas. Trying to juggle training around work and family commitments can be challenging during the rest of the year. Throw in the demands of preparing for Christmas, however, such as the shopping, all the kids' stuff, the decorations, the workplace parties, and friendship group socials, and it's easy to see why your training plan might go awry. But despite all of that, a number of athletes remain determined to make some large deposits into the bank of calorie deficit as preparation for what they fear lies ahead. And all of this at a time of year when, in the Northern Hemisphere at least, URTIs, upper respiratory tract infections, aka the common cold and such like, are more prevalent. I'm sure that you can see where I'm going with this, as everything is already pointing in the direction of you moderating your training. As I am sure that you're all aware, regular exercise is proven to strengthen your immune system over time. But during those handful of hours following intense exercise, your immune system is actually compromised somewhat. It is also likely to be less than optimal when you're carrying residual fatigue during the middle of a demanding training block. Not only are there more URTIs out there at this time of year waiting for another person to help them on their way, but during the run into Christmas, many of us are socialising a lot more than usual. And even if ourselves are not doing huge amounts of mingling, then the people that we are mingling with just might well be, and we do not have much control over that. What we do have control over, however, is mitigating the risk of us catching a virus, which will impact your training far more than easing off a little bit and then still enjoying Christmas. A handful of years ago, a Swedish study showed that amongst athletes, more training days were lost each year from illnesses such as colds than due to injury. And following on from that, the British cycling track team were taken to a local hospital and shown how to properly wash their hands. That season, the team reported a 30% reduction in lost training time as a result, which is not to be sneezed at. And although the latter part of our anecdote focuses on personal hygiene, the fact remains that avoiding viral infections, yes, easier said than done, is a quest worth pursuing, and it is possible to at least stack the odds in your favour. When I look back at my Training Peaks data, I see that almost every time I've picked up a cold, it has either followed a ramping training load or when I've gone out to socialise, travel, etc., within a couple of hours of undertaking a hard session. Which is not to say that every time I've ramped up training or gone out immediately after a session, I've contracted an illness of some sort. On some occasions, I've gotten away with it, but almost every time I've caught one, it has followed either one of those scenarios. And in fact, during this same period last year, around 2/3 of my athletes caught whatever was doing the rounds, which prompted me to reflect on the possible reasons as to why, which has in turn resulted in me making this video. But let me be clear, there are no guarantees in what I'm advocating. You could dial back and still get a cold, or you could gamble on ramping things up and get away with it. You've got to make a choice of which path to follow. But against the backdrop of more pressure on time, more viruses and more mingling, I'd opt for more of a maintenance-based approach with the aim of being as consistent as possible with that during this busy period of time. And as a result, be ready and refreshed to recommence a full programme in January when none of us do much anyway. Okay, so having dealt with the run-in to Christmas, hopefully via a more manageable and sensible programme, let's round things off by taking a look at the Christmas week itself and putting that into perspective. The key thing here is to mentally reframe the festive period and focus on the fact that what you do between New Year and Christmas is far more important and impactful than what you do between Christmas and New Year. That 1 week is such a tiny part of the rest of your annual schedule, and you're really not going to blow up to huge proportions due to just 1 week of not training and enjoying life's pleasures a little bit more than usual. Nor are you going to lose huge amounts of fitness by dialing back your sessions to almost zero during that week. So don't stress about it and be kind to yourself, and don't feel guilty about what in the big scheme of things is a tiny bit of overindulgence. Guilt really is a pointless emotion with no positive benefit. It merely stops us from doing some of the nice things in life that we might enjoy. Instead, enjoy and embrace spending time with your family, prioritising them over and above training for a change. Training and your usual routine and schedule will be waiting for you in January, and hopefully you'll be looking forward to it all the more, ready and refreshed to take that on. So thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video then please remember to leave me a thumbs up and a comment, and maybe even subscribe to my channel. And if you've got a friend who you think would benefit from the advice in this video, then why not share it with them as well? All that's left for me to say is have a fantastic Christmas, and don't forget to embrace the process to enjoy the ride. Take care. Goodbye.